afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the November 9th, 2023 agenda session meeting for the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. At this time, I will call on Commissioner Faircloth for the pledge and the invocation.
Let's stand and honor God and country. Gracious Father, once again we come into the presence of your greatness. We ask humbly, Lord, that you bless us as we contemplate those things that are important to the citizens of our county. We ask that each citizen of our county be blessed as we carry out your work and ours. We ask these things in your name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
True. Thank you, Commissioner Faircloth. At this time, we will move on to the approval of the agenda. Manager Greer, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, Madam Chairwoman, there are no changes to the agenda.
At this time, I will call on a motion.
Motion approval.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. Now we will move on to our presentations. Manager Greer, if you would introduce the item in the presenter.
Yes, the first presentation is a presentation by Commissioner Key regarding the International Farmers Market presentation, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Key.
Oh, you going to present? All right.
You lied to you, didn't you?
All right.
I like to be on this side.
All right.
Well, be careful what you ask.
Let me see. All y'all got through. I'll take care of it for y'all right quick.
I still have a vote on that side whenever it comes up. Oh, wait. Okay. Today I'm going to talk, first of all, thank everybody for coming out for this presentation. I'm really humbled by the information we have. This is a project that we've talked about for a long, long time. I see Lisa Childers in the back. She knows that I was talking to her about this like 7 or 8 years ago. But we want to bring up the idea of an international farmers market at a Veterans Park. As an elected official, I've always had a couple of driving principles for me. Whenever I look at something, I say, okay, what are my priorities? Well, my first priority is education. You know, education matters. Anybody that's seen me vote, the support we had for FTCC, the public school system, what we've done with Fayetteville State, and the partnerships that we got with education. All those matter because without education, everybody is stuck in the same place that they are in life. We always want our kids to do better, and we can only get that way through education. Medical and public health. A community to be really great has to have good access to medical and public health. They need to know if they're sick, they can be taken care of, and that the county cares about their health. We have struggled for many, many years on our own public health because we have so many cases in our community. We're a Tier 1 county. There's not a lot of access to good education and good food in some places. Obviously, public safety is very important to me, and I'm proud of our board for being advocates, whether it be the Fire and Rescue Training Center, the new Swift Water, what we've done with Cape Valley and EMS. Connectivity is something very important to me, and when you think about connectivity, it's not just roads and streets and airports. Connectivity can be broadband. And it can also be trails to connect different areas of our community together. But most importantly, to get anything done in a community, you need connectivity between governing bodies, you need connectivity between partnerships, and you need connectivity with the citizens. Somebody said something the other night is sometimes we forget why we're here, and we're here to make the community better. And in any way that we can. Quality of life is something I'm always looking at. Hats off to the city for Segra Stadium. Thank you through the board for the Crown Event Center. I think it's going to be great. We're giving people reasons to stay in Fayetteville, reasons to raise their family in Fayetteville, reasons to come to Fayetteville to work. And all these things matter. If you look at most big cities, that have really blown up with manufacturing or whatever, they started at their core. And what they did was they made it an attractive place to come. And then that's the way that you attract people. And the last thing is opportunities. Yeah, we can bring in a big Amazon or whatever, but look at the opportunity that does. That's more restaurants, that's more supply houses, that's more landscaping. Everything is a multiplier whenever you bring opportunities into a community. So it's not just that, where's Robert? I saw Robert in here. Robert, it's not only the actual manufacturing facility, it's what it does to everybody around there. And to the point, I'll use a school system as an example. When Jack Britt was built, it was in Build It, They Will Come area. And if anybody's been around Jack Britt now, it is probably the fastest growing community in our county. So by us investing in that area, it allowed for other people to prosper. So that's my long and short of my passion. These are my guiding principles. And so let's talk about an international farmers market. So with a farmers market, who benefits? Well, it's pretty easy to figure out who benefits. It's the farmers, the vendors, the customers. But most importantly, the community will benefit. And so why a farmers market? There's a couple things that I found out as I've been going through this. Dr. Green, Lisa Childers have been working on the Food Council. But here's a couple facts. Farmers markets help create a robust local economy, provide opportunity to buy fresh food in neighborhoods that otherwise lack fresh food supply. Food deserts and the lack of available fresh food options in education has a direct impact on the health of a community. I'm going to go back to that. These are statistics that came from, I think it's the North Carolina USDA. Almost 80% of all WIC and SNAP purchases are at Dollar General type or convenience stores. Less than 2% are from fresh food or farmers markets. There's a reason they call them convenience stores. It's because they're convenient. They don't call them healthy stores. They don't call them health stores, but they do call them convenience stores. Now, when you look at this, new grocery stores in an area, we always talk about food deserts, and we're going to acknowledge that food deserts happen. But just by putting a grocery store in an area that has traditionally an unhealthy population is not going to make them healthy. We have to educate. We have to make sure they understand. If that was the case, we could put a university in the middle of anywhere and everybody around there would all of a sudden get degrees and be smart. It just doesn't work that way. You have to have the passion to be better and to do that. Because poor diets cause obesity, type 1 diabetes, and other diseases in our community, hypertension, congestive heart failure, Dr. Green, we're really big on those, aren't we? Yes. Okay, those are things that are mostly done by poor diet and poor health. But it contributes to unequal health outcomes. The richest Americans can expect to live 10 to 15 years longer than the poorest. That's from the U.S. News and World Report. Food knowledge and education seem to explain a big chunk of preferences for what people buy and where they shop for groceries. If you're educated about the long-term benefits of nutrition, it will affect your shopping behavior. That's from Chicago News in 2018. What that means is we can't expect you to eat healthy and prepare food if you don't know. So this is how most people end up getting their stuff. They go through the aisles and they're buying stuff that comes from a manufacturing plant instead of a health plant. Okay, there are lots of people interested in something like that. This will just give you an idea of money, funding, people that love farmers markets, why they see this as going. Start off, of course, Cumberland County, I hope that we're going to be the lead. City of Fayetteville, American Rescue Plan, we're perfect for the American Rescue Plan. Golden Leaf, it was built to help Tier 1 and 2 counties and farmers and bring the economies in. North Carolina Cooperative Extension, Lisa, shout out. Okay, there's a couple of North Carolina trust funds, Tobacco Trust Fund, the USDA, Community Transforming for Healthy North Carolina, and our local community advocates, the Chamber, Distinctly Fayetteville, and Cool Springs. I want to take just a moment and to let you know that this is out there, but it's just a matter of we got to go get it. This is a video from the USDA.
The Farmers Market and Local Food Promotion Program covers both the Farmers Market Promotion Program and Local Food Promotion Program. Each program increases consumer access to fresh local food and develops new market opportunities for farmers and other agricultural businesses. The Farmers Market Promotion Program helps direct-to-consumers outlets, like farmers markets and roadside stands, to promote, expand, and improve operations. The Local Food Promotion Program offers grants that connect producers and consumers through intermediaries, such as food hubs and community-supported agriculture. Farmers Market Promotion Program grants offer two direct marketing project types. Capacity building projects help recipients develop new farmers markets and improve and expand existing markets. Community development, training, and technical assistance projects can cover things like management, food safety, and business training for farmers, ranchers, and market workers. The Local Food Promotion Program also offers two project types to help applicants aggregate, process, distribute, or store local and regional food products. A planning project grant will help you conduct feasibility studies, community surveys, and do other things to set up or expand intermediary supply chain business. An implementation project grant will help you move forward with your business idea. For example, it can be used to start a food hub or commercial kitchen. More information about these types of project grants, including a list of eligible activities, is available in the request for application. We're looking for projects that are sustainable, projects that will have a measurable impact, projects that are built on a solid network of existing partnerships, projects that benefit more than one producer. We're especially looking for new initiatives and fresh ideas. To find out which grant program is right for you, visit us online.
I know it's hard to believe, but that is that USDA. It is tailor-made for us on what is, so the money is out there, the ability is out there, and the support is out there. Now, the only thing that we have to do is, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. That is not a Jimmy Keefe. That was a guy named Walt Disney. And he built some pretty cool stuff. So, what does it look like to get a project like this going? We need at least a 3-year timeline. We got to have a commitment, and if we're going to use ARP funding, the dollars must be committed. Is that the right word, Sally? Yeah, committed by 12/31/2024. I know that sounds like a long time away, but it's not. It's really there. And we talk about the project, the purpose, the location, a budget, planning, design, construction, marketing, and then finally, operation. Here's a couple things. First thing we need to do is agree on the commitment and the vision in 224. Then we talk about the purpose and then the budget. For this to be successful, there needs to be cooperation. This is that connectivity I'm talking about between the city, the county, the state, local farmers, vendors, and the community. We want our farm. The reason we took the spin of an international farmers market is because we are so culturally international in our community. I remember somebody in human relations told me one time there's 62 different languages spoken just in our community. So we want to be unique. Wake County has 14 farmers markets. None of them are unique in the way that we can be. And so if you're looking for Korean kimchi or Indian spices or Greek pastries, we hope that you'll be able to come to our farmers market and get those. Farmer markets are not only places to buy produce, they're gathering places, entertainment venues, bustling areas of commerce, and family-friendly activities. So the project and purpose, we need to identify at least a minimum 3 to 4 acres in downtown area that has room to expand and existing parking or access to parking. Downtown is a great location. It not only is it contiguous to what we've identified as food deserts, it's in a qualified census tract. It does help low to moderate income individuals, which works very well in our ARP tie. There you go. Okay, I'm bringing up connecting. I'm connecting everybody here.
I think you've been listening to our old FTCC president call everybody's name in the room. That's all right.
I learned from the best.
I guess you did.
Thank you, Commissioner Bruce. All right. Commissioner Adams.
Remember, I got one vote too there.
Yeah, I know. You need to count them all.
All right.
farmers markets are more than just places to sell fruits and vegetables, and I think that's what some people have in their mind. Community Farmer Run is an enterprise program. The hope is that we'll have a contractor in there and it will operate on its own without additional government subsidy or funding. Grant funding is available. We talked about what ARP, Community Development, Golden Leaf, Department of Agriculture, federal government program. The kind of vision that some of the venues that would work in something like this, and you talk about the venues, obviously agriculture vendors and non-agricultural vendors, craft people and things like that. But a farmer's co-op means different things to different people, but basically it's a place where farmers can come and bring their product, and people can be part of a co-op, and by joining this co-op and trading time to work in the co-op for being a member of it, it does help the low to moderate income folks. An international vendor area, street food vendors, entertainment areas, family picnic areas, indoor and outdoor seating, kids education area, healthy food preparation areas, splash pads, permanent vendors, beer garden for microbreweries. If you don't know, we are one of the fastest growing microbrewery areas in the area, and we have a number of them that are popping up, and then a pop-up vendor area. The emphasis will be on the partnerships with local farmers, with our diverse cultures that we have, low to moderate income, qualified census tract, food deserts. The Veteran Ag Program, we're already doing some Veteran Ag programs. This is a good segue and bridge to expanding that, and making sure that all the vendors accept SNAP and WIC to be able to go in there and at a level. The design would be some of the things you see over there. Construction, although because we're very familiar with how construction goes, we'd start with an owner's rep, an architect and designer, and then go to a construction manager at risk. So to give you an idea, this is sort of just some ideas of what it could look like in your community. Having splash pads out there for the community in the middle of it. Okay, and then if you go in a little bit, what would it might look like on the inside if you're going to come in and see your new vendors? There's just some ideas of what it could look like. Okay, what is the next one? Oh, okay. So, familiarize yourself. If you're coming down Rowan Street, Michael Gibson, there you go. So Michael tells me that there is a pause on the makerspace. Fair? Yes. Okay. And that there is some acreage in here, and this is in downtown Fayetteville. If you are familiar with this, if you're coming up this road right here, you're going to be going over the Rowan Street Bridge. Festival Park is over here. If you take this right, coming down here, the ASOM will be down here. The North Carolina Veterans Park will be here, and there's an empty lot right here. For those of you who get real deep, Catalyst Site 1 is across the street that connects Murchison Road. Here, and the bridge, of course, it goes under the bridge. So let me talk a little bit about what this layout could look like. Number one would be our main hall. Number two would be a farmer's co-op. This is where farmers could come in, and we'd have partnerships with local farmers. And then we get people from the community working there, that people could buy fresh food at reduced rates, or restaurants could come in and they could buy at these places too. An incubator kitchen. This is where if someone is looking for an opportunity, maybe they have a catering company, maybe they have a bakery company, but they just can't do it in their kitchen any longer. The idea of an incubator kitchen is people can come in and do their work right there. It can also be used for training. It can be used for people who are interested in getting into the restaurant business. And with a first-class incubator kitchen, goes back to the education and opportunity. Number four is our international market hall. And again, this is places where you can buy stuff from all over the world, food products and that sort of thing. Number five Down there is our admin building. 6 is our food education area right here. And this will be the Farmers Expo, where kids can have how to prepare healthy meals, how to stretch your dollar. Moms can go in there and know how to best feed their family so they're healthy. I put in a splash pad over there because I thought it'd be fun and breezy to bring the kids. And then a couple of stages so we can have entertainment. The green area would be common space. The purple are our street vendors, where you can go down and come down the promenade and eat all over the world. And there, these are the pop-up vendors, and of course, the umbrellas are your outdoor seating area. So, does everybody know where this is kind of? I'm getting head nods. Okay, good, all right. So, now the question everybody wants to know is what's it gonna cost? Well, like everything, there's a high and a low, but keep in mind, don't think about, it's not what it costs, it's how we pay for it. And that's important, because right now, I've been doing this work for a long time. Money is available, and if we're willing to justify it and go out after it, now is the time more than any other time with ARP, we've been able to, the state has money, the federal government has money, and all we got to do is go out there and ask for it and design it. I have a low budget of about $15 million all in. I got a high budget of 23. What I've asked the board to consider is that we talk about the low budget and go after the grants at a high level and see if we can emphasize where we're at. Not looking for anything today, but to answer some questions. But this is, I can guarantee you these numbers are wrong, but I think they're close of what we can do on these. But I think it would be a dynamic place that the community can come together. Again, bring that connectivity. This is a city-county partnership. We recognize that the health in our community could use some work, and we recognize that people want quality of life things in our community. And it helps with education, it helps the health of the community, it helps connectivity, and it helps quality of life, and finally, it gives more opportunities. So I'm just going to pause right now before I answer any questions to say, Michael, is there anything that I missed on that we talked about?
No, you did a good job.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Jennifer? Okay, you're not going to dig on me on anything after I leave. Lisa?
I think you nailed it.
Okay. Our grant writer, Lisa? All right, give me some money. Okay, so this is it.
Thank you, Commissioner Key. Great presentation.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely great presentation. I know you did your homework. Phenomenal idea. Are there any questions?
Go ahead, go right ahead.
I think it was excellent, and I think it's definitely something that our community can use. But I do have one question. Is there a possibility, consideration for it to perhaps be somewhere else? I mean, downtown is great, but is that going to be a consideration, possibility to consider other locations?
Well, we are looking at that property mostly because of availability, that it's there. And the other thing, it qualifies for a number of different grant programs. It does become an anchor of downtown. Most vibrant farmers markets in this area do choose an area of downtown to become an anchor because I kind of like this area because it bridges Murchison Road to downtown. And that's something that we've struggled with for years and years and years. The bridge has always sort of been this separation line, but now we can connect it all together to the Murchison Road corridor. And there's a lot of trails in there, so somebody could really walk all the way from Festival Park, all the way down the Linear Park Trail to the Botanical Gardens, almost all the way to this place. You would never have to get in a car. So that's one of the reasons we looked at that. Right now it's just on paper.
Again, so there may or may not be the question was, can there be a consideration, maybe possibility of another location?
Of course.
Okay.
Commissioner Adam.
Oh, you forgot my name. Oh, my gracious, I can't believe that. I guess mine is between Jimmy and Mike. Catalyst Site 1, we've heard about 10,000 things for Catalyst Site 1. Is there any kind of indication of where Catalyst Site 1, because this makes an interesting point, putting this there with Catalyst Site 1 there.
Well,
You want to, or use one of the, here, you can sit right here and use this mic right here. Use this one, that's his food right here.
Currently, we've had an agreement with Catalyst Site 1 with Fayetteville State University. So the city doesn't have the ownership of it right now, and they have an opportunity to develop it for a period of time, and then if they don't, then it reverts back. But currently, right now, we're working with Fayetteville State.
Right, so Fayetteville State is more activity because there's going to be activity on Catalyst Site 1 possibly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, which brings all of this traffic down into that area, which helps in terms of, I was just trying to make sure we all understood how that whole thing builds out and in terms of being able to do this.
Yeah, Glenn, you bring up a great point. For these to be the most successful and to grow, you want people. And I know that Catalyst Site 1 is looking at putting students in dorms area. We have the condominiums that are all within walking distance, people living downtown. So it does provide an opportunity and a springboard of sorts for additional growth.
Having it in walking distance of Fayetteville State is crucial to be able for our babies to be able, I mean, Chick-fil-A is coming, and that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. But to give them, Starbucks too, I mean, so we need a farmer's market in that area.
I heard that Starbucks.
So Jimmy, great
Thank you
job.
very much. It's a passion of mine. And I think if I could leave you with anything, it's, for us to become a healthy community, when most of us were kids, the only seatbelt we had was mom's arm coming across, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's taken a generation for us, our kids, to understand that seatbelts matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken a generation for us to understand that smoking's not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And because, we grew up in an era, most of us were in high school, they might have allowed smoking in the school, right? Or at the school
Before
at
my
least.
time, Jimmy.
Sure. Well, I think I am the oldest now. But it does take generations. And for
Absolutely.
people to learn you can't expect a young child to know how to eat healthy if their parents don't know how to cook healthy or prepare food healthy. And I hope that this provides that bridge to allow people to become more healthy, live longer, and enjoy their life.
I'm sorry, another question from Commissioner.
Well, mine's not necessarily a question, but to do the presentation and to just walk away just leaves us sitting here holding our hands. So I guess next steps possibly is whether we look for staff to go ahead and contact these other entities in terms of possible funding so that we do get to that funding. I don't think we want to leave here today, if there's consensus, I'm just one person, but at least consensus to further study this and study with those partners and bring that back to us and so we can go ahead and make this decision because there's really no reason to delay it. So I think if we can get some consensus to at least move toward contacting those partners and being all of that and try to move, when you talk to all them 20 people over here who are saying yes, I guess they're ready to go. So
Is there a consensus among the board? Okay, come back over here now, Jimmy.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate all y'all coming out to hear my presentation.
Madam Chair, Jimmy, before you leave, run this slide back up there again, to locate the site plan sort of thing here, and orient me. I'm looking at, are we looking south to north on that sheet?
Okay, this is the old, if you remember Stuart Olds used to, Stuart Olds, they're like right in here.
Jimmy,
Jimmy.
just before you do it, I was asking Sally if she could just do the GIS map. It's probably a little bit easier if they can pull up the GIS map, and that'll give you, Marshall, a much better idea of where he's talking. Yeah, but the GIS map will give you, it'll show you that whole corner.
Right there on the corner.
Yeah, but it was down on that other side, remember? It was down on the Black Boulevard side. Yeah. Because when you come down over the bridge, to the right is Catalyst Site 1. To the left was where they were going to put the maker site, and then
Leaving downtown.
above you was where Stewart was, because you
That's
remember?
why I was asking about location.
Yeah, it was right, it's right there by Wade's Fowler's old place.
Stewart's used car, yeah, that's what that was.
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly.
What's that?
Y'all always saying names, you know where Stewart's at, and I don't know
I'm
about
sorry.
Stewart.
Well, that's why I told them to pull up the GIS map, so people can see it.
You know where Keisha was at.
Keisha Mama, it's next door to Keisha Mama. If you know what Keisha Mama is, you do that in a heartbeat, won't we?
Yeah, I don't know about.
If you start probably with the Rowan Street Bridge, it'll be a lot easier and everybody can orient from the bridge. It's back to your left.
Crossover there, sorry.
Bridge.
And right in front.
That's it.
Right.
Michael, right? Yes, sir.
The empty lot. Yep.
So orienting where the bridge is, and everybody can't really know.
So. This is Bragg Boulevard. And this is the intersection, Catalyst one was over there. And then this is Rowan. That's Rowan Street Park.
So if y'all know where Wade Fowler's place was, it's below, down below that.
So this is the back.
You know what that is. If I tell you about food, you know where I'm talking now. See, everybody, the Jimmy's got to orient these people.
We need a farmer's market.
We need a farmer's market. We can eat too much of that, yeah.
Yeah, or wait, Michael, can you go to the screen, because while Sally is pointing, you're good at doing that.
This is the old Peter Stewart's building right
That's
here.
right.
And then there used to be another
Car wash.
car wash or
Car
some kind of
wash,
place
yeah.
they used to repair cars. This is the Veterans 2 site. Veterans Park is down here. This whole, probably 3.5 to 4 acres from this point, all of here, and this building. We just put a new roof on this building to make sure that we preserve it. We've cleaned it out, and then this parking lot, and then we just finished cleaning this whole area here up so you can see the bridge that comes in from Freedom Park that goes into Rowan Street here. We just put a new pickleball court down here, and then the skate park is right up here. But this is the area that he's talking about right now. That farmer's market would add tremendous value coming through.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Key. Great job.
Thank you all.
You've done all your talking today.
Is that a question or a statement?
Statement. Okay, we will now move on to presentation B. Manager Greer, if you will introduce the next item.
The next presentation is a update from the North Carolina Department of Information Technology. Jeffrey M. Brooks will be providing information on the broadband program for North Carolina Department of Information Technology, NCDIT.
We want to get Commissioner.
Okay.
Stand it up, stand it up. If the ITV takes it, what we do?
Yeah, that guy's, he wants to allow anything.
Okay, try
He's insmarted.
We ain't gonna talk about the IT problem with the ITV.
We get the point, we get the point.
We need more broadband.
That's what Point made.
Who's not coming on? Check on it.
He's not, okay, he's staying.
He's dead. You don't need
He's
to-
not gonna lock it.
He's not gonna log in.
3 feet away. He said he's not logging in, so we don't need to do that. Yeah. He's not logging in.
Sally, do you just want me to chat a little bit?
No,
No,
Somebody could
be chatting. We don't just be chatting here now.
You're gonna do so you know, that you chat with them. So you can chat.
It depends on what you do. How much of this was underwater?
I don't know if that side works. It's usually the other side of the fence. It's kind of like going and coming around toward.
Frank Boulevard was
Good
something
afternoon,
that was 3
everybody.
feet.
My name is Jeff Brooks. I'm with the North Carolina Department of...
You gotta use the microphone, because we can, yeah. It's being recorded now.
Used to be a little more casual, my apologies.
It's been recorded.
So my name is Jeff Brooks. I'm with the North Carolina Department of Information Technology. I'm in the North Carolina Broadband Infrastructure Office. I think that's why after my short 14 months in state government, I don't have business cards, because you couldn't put all that on a card. But I'm here to bring you guys up to date on where we are with broadband programs in the state. I have a number of slides. I believe you have copies of those. I don't read slides, and I'm certainly not going to belabor your time. We've got a lot of people here and busy agenda, so we want to kind of move through things. I welcome your questions at any time. So let me get rocking and rolling. I have to stand here. So fundamentally, as Sally has heard, I'm parked out in the parking lot in front of the building. And in the trunk of my car, I have $590 million. And that money is designated to go to support broadband across North Carolina. I'm responsible for the completing access to broadband, the stopgap, and the broadband pole replacement programs. My singular focus, the only thing that I do, the reason why I took this job and got out of industry a few months ago, was to bring these funds and bring these capabilities to each county. I'm fortunate, this is probably the 250th board meeting I've attended in states up and down the East Coast. I've won state grants in these 14 states, a few out west. I've won federal grants, but I'm born here. I went to school here in North Carolina. I went to school in North Carolina. This is my home. I'm 65 years old. This should be the last job where I help my fellow citizens. So that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So when I think about broadband, I got frowned on in some internal meetings, but I'm just going to say it like it is. Broadband is local. Doesn't happen in Raleigh. Happens right here in Fayetteville and Cumberland County. I don't care if somebody is red, white, green, pink, black, blue. I don't care if they're rich, poor. I don't care if they're male, female. My job is to help every citizen in this state have access to the infrastructure that supports internet access, period. That's my job. So if you put these two things together, I've been in the past year to 81 county seats. And Sally and Lisa were kind enough to welcome me, and you were too, last fall to talk about what we're doing in these programs. I've been walked to my car by a sheriff's deputy out west, thankfully. I've taken agricultural tours in the eastern part of the state because that's where the board was meeting that time. Our job is to be where you are because our dollars need to come here and not stay in Raleigh. Fundamentally, and I think I got some pictures here in a second, but let me just kind of cut to the chase. Out of all the money that's in the trunk of my car, $400 million is oriented towards a program called Completing Access to Broadband. The nice thing about this program is I was given a blank sheet of paper to design it and the corresponding programs. For that reason, I went on the road to go meet with counties, and a few people on my team, the counties I haven't been to yet, they got to. Because in designing this, I wanted to hear from county managers, in some cases the deputy county manager. I got a lot of money, how do we make this work in your county? There are a few legislative components to our programs. I can't change those. But outside of that, everything can be oriented towards supporting the county. The CAD program is a state procurement. It's something that we buy, but it doesn't do anything you get to buy it if it's not making a difference here in Cumberland County. So fundamentally, what we did is we initiated a qualification or pre-qualification process kicked off in July of this year. If a service provider wants to participate in our future grant programs, they had to complete an application. Those applications are being scored right now. So if you didn't complete it, if you didn't apply, you don't get a broadband grant. You're ineligible to apply for a grant. The reason why we did this is because I see this as a collaborative process. Whenever we begin to make the decisions, the way it sits right now, it looks like we have 3 people on a selection committee. Myself, somebody else from my team, and your county manager. Now, our responsibility, if you think about what the commissioner's slide showed a while ago, all the work that you do, I say this constantly, so it's nice to see it on the screen. You are experts, your county manager, your county commission, you're experts in roads, sewer, public safety, public health. I'm just grateful that you guys can do those things. We're experts in broadband. We're subject matter experts, and it's our job to come to you, to your county manager, to your senior staff, and be your consultants in any way that we can. And if you got it covered, that's great. If you don't have it covered, that's what we're here for. We have a singular bias, not towards any provider, not towards any technology or topology, but towards this county. So when you think about this qualification process, we're now going to walk through that. We'll qualify these vendors to participate. We're going to put out a bid document at a point in time called an RFR, Request for Response. In that bid document, there are going to be certain criteria that a provider has to meet in order to submit their response. When these responses come back, I give one of them to your county manager. I also give that county manager a copy of every profile that we receive from this eligibility application process. Now, whoever your county manager wants to bring in and have the discussion, bring the whole room, that's great. But that is the person that's my client that I'm looking to serve, and I need their input to come back and tell me, what do you want to do? Our job really isn't to pick who the provider and what the project is that earns your money as well as the state's money in a broadband project in Cumberland County. Our job is to make sure these responses, when they come back, are focused on Cumberland County, first and foremost. So, how are you going to support plans for low-income households in Cumberland County? What does your budget look like for building a project in Cumberland County? I don't care what you do in Robinson, don't care what you do in Hope, don't care what you do in Johnston, Harnett, irrelevant. What will you do in Cumberland County? In the Great Grant process, we received 305 applications. Many of these were copy and paste. Some of these were well over 100, 120 pages long. And the scores for that had to read and annotate every single page. Has nothing to do with what you're trying to get to. The heart of the matter being, what are you going to do in Cumberland County? Because Cumberland County is my favorite county more than Harnett. So anyway, the scenario happens that when these proposals come back, we're asking specifically, what are you doing here? Because in this broader pre-qualification profile, we ask questions about financial, operational, and technical components related to that company. We wanted to see 3 years of financial statements. We wanted to see 2 months of bank statements across 3 years, a total of 6, because we want to see where payroll tax deposits are made, where monies are collected from subscribers and booked into the account. We wanted to find out who the banking contacts were. If there's other money, we wanted to know who those folks were, because we contacted them to validate, in some cases, take issue with what was submitted to us on these applications. Because again, it's not just the state's money. You're making a significant investment in a CAD project as well. We have a responsibility to be good stewards on your behalf. In this process, we ask these applicants, so what do you do for building and operational support systems, BOSS systems? How do you take calls coming in? What's your policy for support? I can't hook my TV up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Are you available? Is it 24/7 by 365? Do the folks speak English? Are they onshore or are they somewhere? We had a lady just south of here in Robeson County. She called, because one of the things my team does is we also take inbounds from citizens across the state, about 50 a month. We track every one of them. We call back within 24 hours. We email them. We work through and try and resolve their problem, no matter what it might be. Come to find out, the vendor was offshoring their technical support for her email to Thailand. She didn't speak Thai, and they didn't speak Southern English, so she couldn't get any help. We were able to get her a senior manager, director for customer support for the provider, who had a one-on-one conversation, her issue was resolved. That's what I mean by local. So we look at these things, we look at what's involved in supporting these customers, multiple ways to pay a bill. As I said, do you have plans to support low-income households? Technically, tell us about your network architecture. What do you do when you design a plan, when you develop it, when you begin to build it out, go through what's called the make-ready process? How do you turn it up? How do you protect customer data, and how do you protect the network? We're asking all these questions in advance, and we share them with each county when the responses come back. So when the response to the RFR comes back, we're saying, we already know your answers over here, so tell us about Cumberland County. We want to know also, what are you spending in Cumberland County? What are you spending it on? We know what this stuff costs. We talk to vendors constantly. They come in and present themselves. They talk about the costs. We can determine if these costs are reasonable or not. Next thing is, how are you going to do what you say you're going to do in Cumberland County? I'm not worried about seeing the Star Blaster 8000, the Star Trek, whatever. I'm not concerned about those things. We have enough expertise, you probably do as well, where we review this, we put it all together. Does this make sense? Can this be done? By the way, within the context of this, show me a 60-month statement of cash flow. Prove to me that you're proving to yourself that this is financially a viable project that you propose to build in Cumberland County. If you can't prove it, then why are we considering your proposal?
One moment, please.
Can I ask a question? Thank you for all that. I'm getting a little sideways on it, because broadband is something that I believe that we need. And not only the minimum broadband, which sometimes is the state or whoever thinks that you have broadband if you have dial-up or whatever. But my point is, kids, I have kids in school, they need broadband. They need internet, they need videos and things. They've become the new teachers. And is there a certain level that each of these, when you say providers, you're talking about the commercial that the counties get together with, right? Like we have one with Brightspeed. Brightspeed.
That's a service
So,
provider. Yes, sir.
when you're saying you've already vetted Brightspeed, is that where
We're in the process, we're vetting 43 of them.
Okay, so is there an approved list of vendors that counties can go with, that has to go through your group
It's
first?
a state procurement.
Okay, so they have to be approved through you first.
But that has to be approved through us, and the project comes to us because it's a state procurement.
Okay, so...
And my emphasis is why I keep talking so much about the county.
Right.
Is because I'm not doing this in Raleigh. I'm only doing it if your county manager, your board, your senior managers are actively engaged in the project, because I want it to be what works in your county. I don't know your county. So even though it's a state procurement, And there are many states where this is how broadband works. The state makes the decision. I did a lot of work in New York. Albany makes the decision. That's not the way I want this program.
Yeah.
I want it to be what's assisted to Cumberland County.
But I guess where my confusion, I honestly, I thought we were already in the process. I didn't know that Brightspeed has not been officially vetted yet, because we approved them about...
It's different. This started after the GREAT grant program.
Right, but we didn't qualify for the GREAT grant.
We did. We received a GREAT grant, and we have partnered with Brightspeed.
Right, but-
This is another opportunity to bring funding into Cumberland County to reach out and fill in those gaps that we still have.
Over and above.
Over and above. That is a separate project. The GREAT grant is separate.
So we ready to move forward on that?
Yes.
Sounds good. All right, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. I didn't understand that it was two. I thought we were still trying to get Brightspeed.
No, my apologies. And I know that I'm butting up against time here. I thought given that you have the slides, it probably was more of a waste of your time to step through all 420 slides.
No, that wasn't- that wasn't happening.
The quick overview.
Okay, one moment, Commissioner Jones. Is Brightspeed, are they still owned by CenturyLink? Because I'm used to hearing CenturyLink.
No, ma'am.
They're not
They're
owned.
not?
So Brightspring is no longer affiliated
No,
with
ma'am.
CenturyLink?
They were divested in a leverage buyout.
Okay. I think we have what we need. Any other questions?
I got a question.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Fairclough.
Is this about putting fiber out there or satellite? What, the last mile, how they getting there?
It would be fiber. In the project that comes back, that those providers will tell us that, because the last part that I didn't get a chance to mention is, the biggest part of this RFR that goes out is, we're going to list every single eligible address that's not up to snuff, so to speak, in terms of speed in the county.
Okay. That's the
That is
stuff
my
we need
man
to
out in
know.
Linden that keeps calling us because he said he's about a mile away from being able to get that. He emails about it every 6 months.
That tells us what
You
we
should
need to
please
know.
ask them to contact us. As I said, we handle about 50 of those a month. They come
Okay.
from the governor's office,
Yeah,
from the
we can-
legislature.
Okay,
This
And I think
subject took
Sally
up about,
has sent us a few.
okay,
this subject took up about a half a day at that conference I was at.
okay. Well, I think we got the information that we needed to know, correct? Any other questions? No, this was just for information. It's just a presentation for information.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't, just a presentation.
It's in his
He
car.
He go, oh,
I got that part, if nothing else. I got the monies in his car, ready to go.
It's a fiat.
We'll be coming back, we'll be coming back to the board showing the plan that our internal team will develop with the mapping, our GIS. IT, we have a broadband internal team that's working with GIS and the state NCDIT mapping folks to come back, and we'll present to you the plan for the CAP funding.
To that point briefly, we will ask you to give input, because we will expose every single eligible unserved and underserved address in the counties. We've told every service provider to pay attention to what's prioritized by the county manager. We've asked county managers, look and see whether your service provider may have an alternate solution that's more cost-effective or reaches more people. So between those two things, finally, I will make 2 quick points. If you don't like any responses, we'll kick them out, we'll do it again. I have stopgap coming next year, which is like small cab, no contribution required by the county. I will work with county manager on that because I won't sign off on those projects. We'll fund 85% of that, provider funds 15%. Imagine 5 or 6 people that say, oh, I can see the fiber, I called them up, it's $100,000, I don't have the money. I've got $90 million of that fiber behind the truck for those types of projects in 100 counties.
Good deal.
Thank you so much for your time. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Mr. Brooks, we appreciate the
Thank you.
presentation, thank you. We will now move on to consideration of agenda items. Manager Guerrier, you will introduce the item and the presenter, please.
Yes, the first item, 3A, is the Fayetteville Cumberland Parks Recreation Fiscal Year District Park Improvement Project Request. Michael Gibson, Fayetteville Cumberland Parks and Recreation, the Director, will present this item and answer your questions you may have. Total capital request of approximately $455,000.
That's 5 minutes to 2.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman.
Mr. Gibson.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. What we have right here is J.D. Pone Recreation Center and Grace Creek Elementary. If for members who don't understand or hadn't been here in a while, there was an agreement with the Ruatan Club a few years back, and that agreement is no longer operable. So we're not over at the Ruatan place anymore, over at Hall Park.
Yep.
So now we need to make sure that, especially now with daylight savings, that the students and the kids out in Grace Creek have some place that they can go that's lighted. And what we intend to do is light this area here and light this area here, so we have this whole area lit so that they can have baseball or football practice or soccer practice, trying to make sure that we still provide that ability for them to be able to practice in the evenings when parents get off. And then we have, this is Arnett Park, and this is a major issue. Arnett Park is probably about 45 to 50 years old. This is the main building here. This is tennis courts, ball fields, soccer fields. And what happens is this area is on septic system. And the drain fields are saturated. So we want to go back in now and put in a new drain field, put in a new septic system so that these facilities and the bathrooms that support these fields here now have a septic system that doesn't need to be pumped out every weekend or every other weekend. So that's where we've come to make sure that the commissioners are comfortable with making that investment to bring these facilities back up to what Parks and Recreation believes is a reasonable level for the citizens in the county or the citizens in the district to enjoy their places of recreation. Any questions?
I got a question.
Yes, sir, I know you would.
Hey, look, since we're here, I know they have it at the middle school. I'm not tired, but can we go ahead and put a splash pad on out here too, so they can go ahead and have their little splash pad?
Little splash pad?
Yeah, you don't need a big one, you got one at the middle school. I'm sorry, let's go ahead. Because it's not that much, Mike, to go ahead, if we're gonna do all of that installation, is to go ahead and install a splash pad somewhere on that property as we put those lights and all of that construction.
Are you talking back over at J.D. Pone?
Yeah.
Over here?
Yeah.
What I can do is make sure that we have a conversation with Brian and the county manager, and we'll bring that back to you. That's what I'm going to do.
But you understand who made this decision,
Yes,
Mike?
sir, I do.
Okay, so Mike, can I put, and I'll go back to that, but is there space to put a splash pad out there?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, that's my first question.
And
Go ahead.
Mr. Gibson, there is one at the middle school.
Yes, there is.
And there's a lot of houses out there.
Yes, sir, ma'am.
But it's a whole long country road.
Country road.
From J.W. Pone to the middle school.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a long country road.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have a lot of houses out there by the rec center.
There is no doubt.
They absolutely could benefit from it.
We will definitely put that in consideration.
So I'm going to get you more than some consideration, possibly, if I can get some consensus from this board that we, at least to the manager, at least going toward the manager of looking to do a splash pad out there at J.W. Pone Rec Center.
Mike said this is not one.
There's one there. There's two there. There's three there. So, all right, so it's a little bit more in the consideration
Yes, sir.
now. Okay, thank you.
And so.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Manager Green.
Thank you.
One question. So we had the splash pad on.
Well, they ain't gave me this other money yet. I'm doing my splash pad first. We ain't even voted on this other stuff.
Mike said that ain't even.
See, he forgot about that. I hadn't voted on that yet. There's been no motion on that. He was kind of putting me off on my splash pad. Go ahead, Mr. Manager. I'm sorry.
Well, if you all approve everything, will we have to bring it back just the cost for the splash pad?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yes, sir. Can I get a consensus then on moving forward?
We will vote on
making these agreements.
Yeah, so we need a motion to bring this to the, our November what meeting? November 20th meeting. If I can get a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Including that splash pad. There you go.
Unanimous.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gibson.
My motion did include.
And that was 5 minutes to that.
Mike, can I ask you a question? I saw those baseball fields here. Is there still talk of the travel tourism park? Is that still?
Yes, are you talking about the MacArthur Road Sports Complex?
Yes.
Yes, there is. Yes, there
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, we're having a little financial, but it'll work out. We'll get it done.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson.
Thank y'all.
We can help.
That would be really, thank you.
I don't know where that one came from.
That's people. I'm not just the county. I'm other folks too. You know.
We all live in the city, right?
Well,
except for one.
Hey, all the city people live in the county.
Oh, that's true.
He'll be over there trying to change his mind.
Me too.
Manager Greer, if we can now move on to item 3B.
3B is a request to add RSV vaccine fee and other establish a fee for the COVID vaccine and COVID administration. Dr. Green, Director of the Department of Health will present this item, answering your questions you may have.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So I'm here to request approval of a RSV vaccine fee and our COVID vaccine fee, and then our admin fee for COVID vaccines, along with approval of our billing guide. Since the end of the public health emergency, there's been a commercialization of our COVID vaccine, which means that we have to, rather than purchase those from the state, we have to purchase them on the commercial market. And then there is a new RSV vaccine this season that we did not previously have. We have RSV vaccines for our pregnant women, for our infants, and RSV vaccines for our 60 years and older adults. We are working to get those in supply and in stock. We have our RSV vaccines in supply for our babies and are still waiting for our RSV vaccines to arrive for our pregnant women and 60 years old. On your attachment, you have the proposed fee that's based on the cost to the health department and then the cost to purchase those vaccines. The key thing here to note is that these are the fees, but because we have some federal programming or federal funding, no patient will see the cost of these vaccines. For our babies, the RSV vaccines will be covered under the Vaccines for Children program, and then our pregnant women that are teenagers will be covered under the Vaccines for Children program as well. Our pregnant women that are seen in our maternity clinic that are over the age of 18, those individuals on our sliding fee scale, so they can slide all the way to zero based on their income. And then our adults 60 and over will be, 65 and older will be covered under Medicare Part D. And then our adults that are in that 60 to 65, they're uninsured, are the ones that we're concerned about. That we're asking that you all waive, that we be able to use some funding for those adults. We think that population will be pretty small for the 60 to 64-year-olds that are not quite covered under Medicare Part D. And then again, our COVID admin fee and our COVID vaccine fees, you have previously already permitted us to waive the cost for those fees. We're just adding them to the fee schedule now that those are on the commercial market. And then in addition, in your packet, you have some updates to our billing guide. There are no substantive changes. These changes are as a result of our site visit from our Title X Family Planning Clinic site visit. And these really just talk about our ability to assess income at each visit. And so those are in your packet and highlighted. And again, I want to highlight that we're not charging the patients these fees, but we need to be able to bill insurance. We have to establish a fee to be able to bill insurance for these. So I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, doesn't look like there are any questions, so if I can get a motion to move this to the November 2023 Board of Commissioners agenda as a consent item, as well as approve the attached fee schedule listed with an effective date of October 23rd, as well as waive the fee for RSV vaccines for uninsured and underinsured adults. age 60 and above.
I make a motion that we make the November 20th, put this on the November 20th Board Commissioners agendas and consent items.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. And at this time, we're going to take a detour to item G, and then we'll go back to the detention center. Manager Greer, if you could go to item G, please.
Item G is a zoning ordinance amendment to regulate the location of businesses selling tobacco and hemp products. As their principal sales, Vice Chairman Adams and County Attorney Rick Morfield will handle this item.
And I'm going to just do it briefly, and thank you for moving it up. I know that Dr. Green probably has to get back, and thank goodness the superintendent was here, and I don't want to keep them here through the whole program just to be able to get that done. So thank you all for allowing us to move that forward. And this came up about 2 weeks ago. I saw it out of Wake County, where Wake County has banned through their ordinance vape stores and those hemp stores next to schools. And today, I was telling you, I was riding out, and I was just talking to the superintendent, riding out Legion Road because I went to a presentation at Cape Fear Valley. And as you're riding up Legion Road, there is Master Hill High School right there sitting on the hill, and right across the street, you run into the vape store faster than you run into the high school. That's just how close it is next to this high school. And it's throughout this community. And they are, this zoning ordinance, those that are there will stay there unless they go out of business, and I think Mr. Moorfield will get you with that. I would talk to you, we talked to the superintendent, we talked to some of his board members. I think they are clearly in support of this. Is one of the reasons that they're here with us today. If we don't protect our kids, nobody's going to protect our kids. Second of all, last week, the chair and I and the manager and our staff was at the Mayor's Coalition, because one thing that Wake County problem that they had is they could only do it in the unincorporated areas, which is the same thing that we have. But we've got schools inside Spring Lake, Hope Mills, Stedman, Eastover. At the Mayor's Coalition, talked to those mayors. They also were in favor of moving toward ordinance. Some of them already have some in their zoning, so they say, and theirs were a little bit even more so. But I will let the county attorney tell you what we can and can't do. As it is with tobacco and state regulations, we have to fall within that. That's why we have to go under a zoning ordinance more so, a zoning as opposed to an ordinance. Mr. Moorfield.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. And what the Vice Chair told you is accurate in terms of this having been done in Wake County on October the 16th. Under the timing of trying to move this along, I provided the board the language that Wake County did to amend its effectively its zoning ordinance. It has a uniform development ordinance, but that includes zoning and the definition of tobacco and hemp retail. And that is a pretty standard definition that's used in all the zoning ordinances that I've seen that address this. And it should be, my recommendation would be that it's done through zoning, because it is a regulation of the use of the land. It's possible to do it as a police regulation ordinance, like which is what smoking is. But smoking is, or not smoking, or prohibiting smoking is done pursuant to a statute that specifically allows that, authorizes counties to do that, and there is no similar authorization for this. So my recommendation is to do it through the zoning. What Wake County did was prohibit any other hemp. There's called hemp and tobacco retail is the use, but that their definition includes products to electronic cigarettes, products to use vape anything, and so it's very broad, and that's covered by the definition. But what they did was they prohibited location of tobacco and hemp businesses that sell tobacco and hemp products as their primary sales within 1,000 feet of any school, park, and actually residences in the county. And that, again, that's a Wake County thing. Some other ordinances that address this include daycare centers or child care centers, things of that nature. What I'm seeking at this point is first, if the board is interested in pursuing this and some direction on how you want to do it be done. And because this is one that would be required to either be recommended or reviewed by the planning board. So that's the process for a zoning ordinance. And I can answer any questions if you have any, or just give me a kind of some general direction on how you want to proceed.
Well, and I guess I was talking to Dr. Green earlier. I think the chairwoman and Commissioner Jones weren't here, but we went through, Commissioner Kiefer, remember, and Commissioner Fairclough, that we banned smoking on county properties. But we did carve out, and I think this is the one thing we have to do differently from, and I talked to Mike Gibson before he did. We carved out, I think, an area around parks, and they got specific designated areas to be able to do that. But as we do this, I would like to have, for us to send to the attorney and then on to the planning board that we do this ordinance, but that we actually have a second one that we go ahead, because we never did go forward with vaping on county property, and that we ban vaping on county properties too, besides those designated areas in that ordinance that's already carved out.
I was able to see the superintendent on tour this week, last week, and as a parent, that I was there as a parent, not as a commissioner, and one of the issues that's happening in our schools is vaping, and they're putting other things in vaping, and they have these markers that look like a marker, but it's actually a vape pen, and so many things, and then they're using, putting other things in there, and so I think that we have to make it inconvenient for them to be able to have access. They got access to the wrong stuff nowadays, and so I am definitely in favor of exploring this and moving forward.
And Madam Chair, I don't want to speak for the superintendent if he wants to have any kind of comments. I know he was in favor of it, but if you want to have some comments, that's fine.
No, Mr. Vice Chairman and Madam Chairman, Commissioners, you're exactly right. This is a problem, not only in high school, but middle school. And it's increasingly a concern for us, hard to detect, hard to find, but when students can walk right out the building, after school, before school, and get it, that's a problem. So anything we can do as a community to limit access, the better. And Madam Chairwoman, it was this week, Monday. My days are
running together too. But I will say this, though, it goes back to also what I said on your tour, that the education piece is so crucial. We have to have the education piece. Without the education, it's still going to look glamorous. If they don't know the consequences, if they don't have the educational piece, it's going to look glamorous. Just like when we were growing up, when looking at magazines before my time, probably before your time. You know, we had women smoking cigarettes and they made it look fancy and all of that. So now we know the consequences.
Have a black eye then.
It's all of that, and so we got to put the education piece in there. You know, I talked about at the meeting, equipping our sheriff officers with Narcan in their locker, in their bags or something, because this is getting out of control. And I know you're just talking about the vaping, but it goes further than that. I mean, that's not even where it starts at. You know, that's just a convenient way for me to be able to do what I need to do in school, during school. It's an issue, it's a problem, so I'm definitely, I just don't want to
Madam Chairwoman, some of these businesses are also selling items that look like
I talked about that as well.
Candy, and it's not.
Which is why I think that we need to have Narcans accessible for our school. for, have it there. I know people don't want to be responsible for that, but we got to at least have it on campus somewhere so that when they do think they're going to get a handful of Skittles, but they're actually getting, a handful of fentanyl and laced with stuff. And so we got a big problem that we got to address head on. Education is the big piece, and then we got to do our part. And so with a collaborative effort, the community coming back together to be responsible. And I talked about today on the radio show, our village looks different. We got to bring the village back. We got to rebuild the village so that we can help our babies. Commissioner Jones.
I was just going to say, I know the parents will be glad to hear this. I had the opportunity, I know on the west side of Fayetteville, my 71st, I went to a few PTAs for the elementary school at 71st and the high school, and that is definitely a concern of a topic that continued to come up with the parents. There's a lot of, I can't speak on the other sides, but I do know that in that Pacific area, on almost every corner, it's in walking distance by 71st, high school, and also the elementary school and the middle school. So this is something I'm sure that the parents, from what I've been hearing at the PTAs that I was invited to, would be glad to know that we're moving forward to try to.
They're in Hope Mills, but they're not in Grace Creek.
Yeah, so you better
Not
get this
yet,
one.
because y'all
Definitely on the west
bringing
side
all
of
these
Fayetteville.
apartments and stuff over there in Grace Creek, but that's another story. But
So
They'll soon
I
be
guess
there.
my ask would be that as the attorney does that, we do have a health board, and it should go before the health board before you take it to the planning board, because that's who regulates, who does this for us. So if you could go to the health board, or y'all can do it in conjunction with the health board brings back that recommendation, Dr. Green. But the sooner the better, the faster the better, because if it gets out that we're talking about doing this, they may start springing up any and everywhere.
okay, and so this was to be put on the consent agenda. If I can get a motion to move this to the consent agenda.
Well, I guess it's the, I think though, I don't know what to bring to the consent agenda because of the health department.
So we should wait?
The Board of Health does have a resolution in place already
Okay.
supporting an ordinance.
Okay.
The zoning ordinance from 2019, I think it was 2019.
Right.
I have not checked to see. I think the language, it's evolved, so the language doesn't quite match.
Right.
You have a Board of Health meeting on Tuesday.
Okay.
That we can put this on the agenda for consensus and then put this, and then I think that will line the timeline up.
Okay.
And Dr. Green's staff has already provided some very useful information to my office on working on this too.
Okay, so we can't move
Move
forward
it to
with
the-
this.
yes.
So if I can get a motion, please.
I motion that we move this on our next agenda, which is November 20th.
Yes, second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous?
Thank you all so very much. Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Conley, for being here and doing that. And thank you, Dr. Green, and this board. I think it's just that we have to be proactive in this, and I think that's the step we took today. Thank
Okay,
you.
now if we can move
Thank
on
everybody else.
to item 3C.
Yeah, this is the contract for healthcare delivery services at the detention center and the additional budget ordinance, B number 241019. Dr. Jennifer Green, Public Health Director, will be presenting this item.
And in the room, I want to acknowledge Major Adams is in the room and Captain Williams is in the room to help me make sure I say the right thing. So there's two requests today. One, to approve a budget ordinance, as Manager Greer mentioned, and then to move, and we would like that done today, and then to move the contract for healthcare delivery services at the detention center to the November 20th consent agenda. As you know, we initiated an RFP process in the spring. That went out twice, and before the board, back in June, we presented WellPath as a selected vendor. We've been working closely with WellPath, the county attorney's office, the sheriff's office attorney, of course, sheriff's office staff, and county management to work on that contract. And the services that will be included in that contract are the health services that meet the accreditation requirements for national accreditation for correctional facilities. That includes screening, scheduled sick call, telehealth services, medical and dental services, x-rays, vision, and pharmacy services. WellPath has provided the base staffing amount based on the average daily population, and then what we are requesting is a contract that starts on December the 1st through June 30th and is renewed. That contract amount is $2 million for the December 1st to June 30th time period is $2,511. The total contract for a full 12-month period is $4,465. So there is an additional, because the health department has been providing services for jail health after our previous vendor from July 1st to present, there's an additional cost and additional ask of the commissioners to fund jail health to support that contract. So, and that additional amount is $1,725,000 to support jail health through June 30th. We have been, so again, that request is in two parts. We're requesting first the amendment to the budget ordinance, and that we're requesting that get approved today. And then the second piece to that is a request to move the WellPath contract to the November 20th consent agenda for approval to start that contract on December the 1st.
Okay. Are there any questions? Okay, first, if I can get a motion to approve the contract with WellPath to put it on the November 20th agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? All those in favor? Unanimous. And now if I can get a motion a motion on the budget ordinance amendment.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now, Manager Greer, we'll move on to the Medicaid expansion local plan.
Yes, a couple of weeks ago at the last meeting, Brenda Reed Jackson, Social Services Director, provided a presentation on Medicaid expansion regarding the technology request. Today, this presentation will go over our local plan and our local recommendation for the upcoming implementation as of December 1st for Medicaid expansion. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Jackson.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present our local Medicaid plan. In the interest of time, I won't read all these slides to you. I think you have a handout of the slides. As the county manager said, I was before you last month giving you an overview of Medicaid expansion that included the other changes, including the Franklin versus Kinsley lawsuit, the continuous coverage unwinding, and of course Medicaid expansion is all part of those changes. I will say that today, the state did issue emails, texts, and notices to the citizens that were already receiving Medicaid under the unwinding. The state had projected 600,000 people would be eligible for Medicaid. Of that, they were projected about 50% were already receiving some type of Medicaid. And so they did issue notice, and you may find out from citizens they may be very happy that they're going to be rolling over. I talked about the auto rollover. So we still were looking at about 300,000 people that were not already on the Medicaid rolls. And those are the individuals that will impact us locally. In Cumberland County, we're projected to have around between 35 and 40,000 citizens that will be eligible. That is not the applicants. That's those that they project will be eligible. Over the 2-year period, they expect to see an increase, just the number of applications that we probably will see a month around 3,000. And of those applications that they have projected that may be eligible, that 35 to 40,000, most of them will require an annual review moving forward. So this work is not one-time work, it's ongoing work. Some of our current barriers, I think you are very, very well aware of the vacancies and staffing challenges that we've had at Department of Social Services. We're averaging about 22.4% vacancy rate. That means that we have caseworkers doing double the work. We have a lot of new caseworkers. On average, it takes about a year to train fully train an income maintenance caseworker. That work has to be reviewed. When we have a new worker, like 100% check, they are authorizing money and benefits, and so therefore, the work must be checked. We have supervisors carrying caseloads, and of course, while Medicaid expansion is a great thing, and it was expanded at the state level, they did not relieve us of any of the state and federal monitoring requirements. So we're still required to process cases timely and accurately, and if we don't, then there's potential for payback, there's potential for state takeover, and those kinds of things. So our local readiness alert, are we ready? As you know, Medicaid expansion, the kickoff period for it was greatly moved up. I think Clarence told me that it was compressed. I called it expedited, which has presented major challenges for us. Initially, we were told once the state budget was approved, we would have somewhere around 6 months to a year to actually implement, and that was changed to December 1st. We know that we're understaffed already across the organization, but we're really thankful and pleased, and we thank you for the approval of the county's class and compensation plan. We believe that that will definitely make a big difference in our efforts to be able to retain the current staff we have and to recruit. So thank you for doing that. Yes, sir.
Can you go back to the slide right before that? The last item.
The NC Fast?
More of the availability.
Yes, sir.
Do they only work during traditional hours still?
So that is a major challenge, and they have expanded the availability. So it is available Monday through Friday in the morning to evening around 9. That was expanded during COVID. It is available on weekends. However, it is not a set date or time. So we get a schedule every month of when it will be available on the weekends.
And I don't want to take anything away from you, but that certainly seems like an opportunity for you to be able to be more efficient if they were open. So is this another case of government causing your barrier? And nobody wants to throw anybody under the proverbial bus, but I remember Commissioner Adams and I had this conversation 8 years ago that you were limited by the state on when you could even access their stuff. I can call, anybody in the world has got to access their email 24 hours a day and do. And I believe, just Jimmy Keefe here, that you could bring in some retired or other certified caseworkers who may be willing to work in the evening to take some of that caseload off, because there's no doubt that there is a large caseload, but we're kind of causing the problem by restricting when you can do that. The state. Not you, the state, of course, please, Brenda.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to let everybody know the emperor doesn't have clothes on this. Anyway, I see that as a major hurdle. It's like they don't want to inconvenience the state, but we're inconveniencing every county in the state.
Yes, sir. And I do appreciate the meeting that you and Commissioner Adams had with the Department of Health and Human Services about 8 years. This became a major issue when they rolled out, if you remember, they rolled out the program for our food and nutrition program. So yes, it has been an ongoing battle and struggle, and something that I would ask that legislatively, this would be something we would love to get our legislators involved in, because it is a issue and something that for folks who know me as a DSS director, I'm very involved in the advocacy piece, and that's one of the pieces that I have constantly, trying to advocate for it to be. It doesn't make any sense in this day and time.
In this day, maybe 20 years ago, but not today.
Yes,
thank you.
And you'll see, Commissioner Keefe, later in the presentation, some of our efforts around trying to work around this barrier. Ready to move forward? Go ahead.
I just hate that you have to work around it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Okay. So we talked about the timeliness and accuracy. I think our big message today is around readiness is the fact that we're not ready because of the fact that the expedited, to successfully do it the way, the Cumberland County way, and with the standards that we want to do the work with pride, of course. And so, but we do have some strategies that we hope that will lessen the fact that we've been pushed against the wall as it relates to rolling this out. Most importantly, it may impact service delivery. We have some strategies in place that I'll share in just a minute in terms of how we want to bring in the applications, but we still are going to have some struggles. You still got to process it, and you need expertise. You need a level of expertise that's different to take an application versus processing it. And so what we want to do is ask definitely for the public's patience as we roll this out. One of the things we really want to do is push ePass. It is very, very important. The ePass is available both on your mobile device, cell phones, laptops, and computers. And believe it or not, it's usually up 24/7, ePass, believe it or not, well, NC Fast may not be. And we really want to push that this is the easiest, quickest, fastest way for citizens to apply. I will share with you in a minute our work with PIO in terms of trying to really push this message. So our local plan. First, I want to thank you. Phase 1 was thanking you for approving the funding for us to move forward with a Medicaid call center and a self-registration kiosk. You did that last month, and we're working with County Information Office to get that out and rolling, and looking at some temporary measures until we can get it fully operationalized. Phase 2, and what is probably the most important piece to us, is how do we staff this? And so right now we have 313 positions in our Economic Services Division. Of that, 112 of those are Medicaid staff. Of course, we will need more staff. And so we are requesting 25 entry-level caseworker, supervisor support positions. Those positions will support the new Medicaid call center and the work around the self-registration that you've already approved. We only have...
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
So, of those 25, because we're up under this time crunch, is this ongoing forever, or once that time crunch is over, we can downsize that?
Probably could not, because remember, all of these cases that we bring in have to have annual review. So this is ongoing work, and we will still continue to have citizens come in to apply.
But but I guess I'm looking at, you got 35,000 now or new, but you won't have that on an ongoing basis and can kind of do that. I'm just trying to figure out in terms of budget, when we budget this thing, are we budgeting this forever to be able to hear all these new positions to be able to be created? Are they being created through HR? How are they being created, and how long and for what duration?
The positions will be permanent, but we're using vacant salaries. Just recently, vacant positions, just recently the state sent us a communication saying that we could supplant current county dollars for that, or current revenues for that. So later in the presentation, she's going to show the funding formula.
Yes.
Each year, it's going to only be $170,000 net cost to the county addition.
Okay, because eventually, you won't have all those lap salaries to use. I guess that's my thing going forward, not just necessarily here in this department, but that's what we did to fund this comp study. But if you eventually fill these positions, those funds are no longer available. That's what I'm just trying to make sure. So once you make them permanent, there's going to have to be, at some point, a new revenue stream to be able to do that, because you won't have unfilled positions. Or am I just missing something?
No, in a couple of years, we'll have revaluation, and based on current estimates from revaluations, and depending on the board's pleasure, we'll be able to continue funding these positions.
I'm just, going forward, and that's not just DSS, that's just across the board, because we've done this across the board, so, okay, thank you. Yeah, this for a whole lot of money. I approve this right here, right now, but I'm going to let you go ahead and finish your program.
And Commissioner Adams, just one correction, the 35,000, 40,000 are the projected eligibility ongoing basis. So those are not cases that are just going to go away.
Right, no, they'll still be there. But
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we only have 2 foreign language interpreters. We would like to increase that by 4 to 6. We're also very, very interested in some foreign language technology that public health is using, so we're exploring that as well. We're going to have these new staff, they're going to need training, so training positions. And then that's kind of the application piece, bringing folks in and serving the citizens. And those folks will also serve, while they're in their lobby doing the kiosks, they'll also serve our food and nutrition and other programs as well. And then we need the processors, someone to process all these cases. And so we're asking for 23 senior level staff to do processings, to create 2 teams, to create the processing piece. And of course, we need folks that's going to oversee and manage this. Vivian Tooks is here. She's our longest serving county employee, and she has done a fantastic job of leading economic services through NC-FAST and now Medicaid transformation, but she can't do this work alone. And then looking at some lower level positions, we did look at what we had internally to try to address staffing needs. So we have some caseworkers that we would like to reclassify to do more processing work. We also have 32 time-limited positions, and you may remember these positions during the NC-FAST rollout during the food and nutrition program, and thank you all for giving us those positions. Those positions are 2-year positions. We have really struggled to keep those positions filled because they're time-limited. Or we usually use them as a hiring pool when we used to create a hiring pool. Those individuals, of course, when vacancies come open, they come in 2 years, they go to a permanent position. We were asked to convert those positions to full-time because they're zero cost. Because of the federal merit-based system for public assistance programs, those positions are already budgeted, receiving benefits, fringe, and all of those things. So that's zero cost because they're already there. And so those positions were time limited. We're asking that they be permanent. And then Commissioner Keefe, to go back to what you were talking about, one of the things we have done is use rehire retirees. I don't know what we'd do without them. But we've also met with and have had discussions with the superintendent of schools, with FTCC and the HOPE program. I think the ARPA dollars for the county is supporting, along with Fayetteville State University, Methodist University, NC Works, workforce development. We've all talked about how can we look at non-traditional workers and how can we even work around this NC-FAST challenge that we have in terms of its availability. So we certainly are interested in recruiting high school seniors, college students, and of course certainly interested in supporting the work that the HOPE program is doing, because it's a win-win for us as well. We already have a partnership with FTCC. They do some of our training for us on NC-FAST, and we really appreciate that partnership.
So they don't have to be certified, Brenda?
No, sir. There's a test that they have to take for the state level, but it's not a certification, and we help train them to take that test.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And of course, this proposal includes any computer technology outside of the call center that those positions would need.
Okay.
So phase 3 is what do we do between now and trying to hire positions if approved today? And so we again are working with public information to really push e-pass. We think that again that's the quickest and easiest way to apply. Again, working with the Connected Care program that we're partnered with public health, and so we have 2 staff there that are going to be doing the outreach for us, so they'll be going to the homeless shelters, Operation Inasmuch, senior facilities to take applications, so we have an outreach plan that we're working on there. We want to host some in-person as well as online information sessions just to educate individuals, because the program is only from 19 to 64, so people may think that they're eligible, they may not, what they might need to come in to apply, so we want to do that. We do have a plan to look at how to handle mass applications so that we don't have staff or staff overwhelmed as well as citizens coming in and having enormous wait time. So we are working on a mass plan process to be able to take applications, and for those citizens who want to come to the office and have their application taken. We're working with County ITS, of course, on the Medicaid call center that you approved in the kiosk, but we're also looking at some temporary measures to have a temporary in-service until that can be operationalized. And then we'll continue to work with the state and all of the public information that they're putting out to the citizens. And then finally, phase 4 is what happens after December 1st, and we have all these applications. We really need to evaluate within 60 to 90 days, are these projections that the state gave us, are they realized, are they more, are they less, and what those needs are, and if there are any additional staffing needs that we may have. We will be inundated with applications we expect on December 1st, and we're preparing for that. We also, thankfully for this, the state did, and you'll see in the budget, the state did approve in their state budget money to support this expansion, which is unusual, but we're happy to have it. We have some enrollment and eligibility gap funding. We've actually received it in over $439,000, but at the same time, we haven't really not quite sure how we can use it. We think we can use it for administration. I was actually on a meeting before this meeting trying to figure that out, and so we're still working with the state to kind of figure out the money that they gave us now, how can we use it? And of course, we get 75 for direct and 50% for indirect from the state, from the federal government to also administer the program, and we want to try to maximize those dollars anywhere we can. With that said, this is the budget that we're proposing. We're proposing for the remainder of fiscal year 24, this current fiscal year, which is December through June. We expect this to cost us somewhere around about $2.4 million. Of that, $162,000 in county dollars. And then for FY25, $3.8 million because we lost the CCU fund that was one-time funding. And so that's not ongoing recurring dollars. And then annualized, we thought it was important to take out all of those one-time dollars because it goes up, right? When they take out the one-time dollars, we're looking at $3.8 million and $439,000 in county costs. Again, recognizing that we do have that $439,000 in enrollment and eligibility gap funding that will certainly help offset some of these expenses once we get the final guidance on how it can be used. Every indication is that we can use it toward administration, which means we can use it toward personnel. With that said, we're recommending consideration of the local Medicaid plan to support the implementation of the state's Medicaid changes as a consent item for approval for your November 20th Board of Commissioners. Are there any questions?
I just got a question for the manager. Because I see this says December to June 24. Why we wouldn't do the FY25 when you do the budget? Why would we be doing it now in terms of looking to see what our budget would look like when we do the budget season?
We're just asking for FY24 right now.
Oh, I thought it was for everything.
Yeah. The additional amount, that's just a projection for future years.
Sorry. I thought we were doing it all. Okay.
No, I'll be in trouble.
I was wondering, I was just kind of going out there at 25, would we just, so I would recommend we go ahead and do the December, and just a great presentation, so thank you. That December to June FY24.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you.
Commissioner Greer, we will move on to item 3E.
3E is the application of enforcement of the county's abandoned nuisance and/or junk motor vehicle ordinance in the municipalities. A few months ago, we met with the mayors of the towns of Wade, Falcon, Godwin, and Linden, and spoke about, and there was a concern about junk vehicles in people's yards. Rick Moorfield, county attorney, will present this item and answer any questions you have, but that's been a growing concern, and we don't feel like, we wanted to make sure we had the authority and enforcement mechanism to enforce the ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Commissioners, this is not a zoning ordinance. This is what's called a police powers ordinance. It can be adopted without a public hearing and without being reviewed by the planning board. And the mechanism, the legal mechanism for this to happen is for any one of these towns to adopt a resolution ceding its jurisdiction to the county for the application and enforcement of this ordinance. I'm not aware that that's been done unless it was done way back in the past, and there's no record in my office of it anyway. But the way to get this in a position that can be done is, I have attached, you'll find a resolution that you would need to adopt, because this is a police powers ordinance, that it's just a resolution statement of the necessity for it, and then a text amendment to our existing ordinance, which all it does is just expand the jurisdiction. What you see there for the text amendment, the red font is either striking through language that's in the existing ordinance and adding the language that would be necessary for this to happen. The process, and you could do that literally on November 20th and put this in place. It doesn't require a public hearing or anything else. After that, the towns would have to adopt an appropriate resolution, and the board would have to adopt a resolution accepting their jurisdiction, and those would be permanently attached with the ordinance in the ordinance book, so there's a record of it. That's been a problem with the way this stuff has been done in the past, is these records have not been maintained consistently. But I don't think this has ever been done in the past. But that is the process.
Okay. Are there any questions? Okay, is there first a motion to adopt a resolution?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay, and then we need a
Text amendment.
a motion to adopt a text amendment.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We will now move on to item F.
Item 3F is generally the same as item 3E, giving the county the ability to enforce the minimum housing and non-residential building codes in the municipalities. That issue came up in the meeting with the towns also. Rick Moorfield, County Attorney, will also present this item and answer any questions you may have.
So moved.
Is there two motions?
Well, I do need some direction from the board, though, with respect to the resolution for accepting the jurisdictions. 6 of these towns have already adopted resolutions, but they're under separate statutes. When we started, it's because the law changed. The stuff that used to be in 160A was transferred to 160D, and there were some changes made to it. When we started, we required and I recommend that we require a interlocal agreement that shifted the liability to the towns for any cost that we may incur because of a lawsuit or a claim or something like that being made. And those come up in these cases. I mean, they've always been county cases, but those do happen. 5 of the towns adopted the interlocal agreement. Wade never did. If you want to accept Wade and include it, then my recommendation would be that we rescind the interlocal agreements with the other 5 so that they're all treated the same. So that's, if you'll see the resolution, I've got Wade in red font with a note that will only be included if the board determines not to require the interlocal agreement.
I'd go the other way.
Well,
Include everybody else except for Wade.
Well, that's just what I'm asking.
If they don't want to do that, that's on them. Then they can do their own enforcement.
And this is now an ordinance that is, it does require a public hearing because it's in Chapter 160D and 2 weeks' notice. It does not have to be reviewed by the planning board. But if the board wants to move this forward, then we'll go ahead and get that process in place so that after the notice, you'll have a public hearing and you can adopt this.
I guess I would request, or at least have the county manager staff at least notify Wade that this is how we're proceeding, and not just do it without them and give them the opportunity. They'll have a new mayor, and that's going to move a little bit. And so at least tell them that's what we're moving toward. We're willing to do this for all of these towns, but I don't think you just drop it on somebody.
And it's unlikely to cause any costs. The county is bearing all the costs unless there's a liability issue.
Okay.
So you want, I understand the board is not, it will move this forward, but upon us giving notice to Wade to confirm that they do or do not want to proceed. Is that correct? Right.
Plus you have to have the public hearing anyway. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct. Okay, that being said, we've already done item 3G. Are there any items of business?
Did you vote on that to move, did you actually vote on that to move it forward?
If we can get a motion to move this to the November 20th session with the
Change.
changes and the notification, so that we can have a public hearing. Is there a motion?
I motion that we move it to the November 20th.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
And Madam Chair, we won't be able to have a public hearing because there's not enough time to advertise this, but we'll
Okay.
get it in place. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. We've already done.
Unanimous?
Yes. Are there any items of business? No, we've already, everybody has already looked at their monthly reports. Are there any monthly reports, any questions, issues on monthly reports?
Motion to adjourn.
We got the
Just got
over
a,
here.
Oh, I'm sorry, down there, I didn't see that.
just got a quick note. The Agricultural Committee and the Tax and Finance Committee will be meeting together on Thursday virtually. The Ag Chairman and myself will be in Raleigh, so we'll be tag teaming it from Raleigh, but there's a lot of pending items that affect both committees. The biggest one is the tax value for farms and so forth. There's some changes afoot. So tune in if you can, and we'll be doing that on Thursday.
Okay, if I can get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Second. It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Meeting adjourned.